Best money I've ever spent wasn't on anything big or fancy. It was on a handful of cheap little things, most of them under $20, that quietly made my whole life easier. That's the funny thing about money. The expensive stuff gets all the attention, but it's usually the small, boring, overlooked purchases that you end up using every single day and wondering how you ever lived without. So today, I've got 12 items, every single one under $50, and most of them a good bit cheaper than that genuinely punch way above their price. We're starting with the ones almost nobody thinks to buy and saving the obvious but brilliant pick for the very end. Fair warning, number one is going to make some of you a little uncomfortable, and that's all right. We're diving straight into the deep end with the one nobody likes to talk about, a bidet attachment. Now stay with me here. For about $30, you can attach one of these to the toilet you already own in roughly 10 minutes with nothing but a screwdriver. No plumber, no big renovation. And here's why it belongs right at the top of this list. Most of the rest of the world has been using these for ages, and they think the way we do things over here is, frankly, a little gross. A bidet actually gets you clean with water instead of just smearing things around with dry paper. But here's the part a homesteader really loves. It slashes how much toilet paper your household burns through, by most accounts around 3/4 less. Toilet paper is one of those things you buy forever and it just turns into money down the drain, quite literally. $30 once and you stop flushing a small fortune. I'll say no more about it. Let's move on. Number two is a tool most people have never even heard of, but every serious gardener swears by: the Hori Hori knife. It's a Japanese garden knife, and the name roughly translates to dig dig, which tells you exactly what it's built for. It's a thick, slightly curved blade, sharp on one edge, serrated on the other, with little inch markings stamped right into the metal. For about $25, this one tool does the job of about five. It digs a planting hole. It saws through tough roots. It cuts twine. It pries up stubborn weeds right at the taproot. And it measures your planting depth as you go. Most folks buy a flimsy little trowel that bends the very first time it hits a rock. Then buy another, then another. Skip all of that. A good Hori Hori will be the only hand tool you reach for, and it will outlast every cheap plastic-handled thing in the shed. Mine practically lives in my back pocket all summer. Coming in at number three is a tiny swap that pays you back every single laundry day: wool dryer balls. You can grab a set of these for around $15, and they replace those dryer sheets you keep rebuying forever. Here's how they earn their keep. You toss 3 or 4 of them in with a wet load, and as they tumble around, they bounce between your clothes and let the hot air move through far better. That actually cuts your drying time by around a quarter, which means a smaller electric bill on every single load. They soften your laundry naturally, knock down the static, and there's not one mystery chemical involved, which really matters if anybody in your house has sensitive skin. A single set lasts for years and years. And if you miss a bit of scent, you just put a couple drops of essential oil on a ball and you're set. Cheap, reusable, and quietly saving you money for a decade. That is exactly my kind of purchase. Number four is going to sound like a luxury, but it's actually one of the smartest, frugal buys on this whole list: a heated mattress pad. For somewhere around $40, you get a thin pad that lies under your fitted sheet and gently warms your bed before you ever climb in. Now, here's the clever part: the bit that turns a cozy little comfort into real money saved. It is far, far cheaper to heat one bed than to heat an entire house all night long. So, on a cold night, you can turn the thermostat way down, let the whole house go chilly while everyone sleeps, and stay perfectly toasty under the covers anyway. Heating empty rooms while the whole family is asleep is one of the biggest wastes of money there is. A warm bed lets you stop doing it. You actually sleep better in a cool room with warm sheets, and you wake up to a smaller heating bill. Comfort and savings in the very same purchase. I'll be honest, I thought these health rings were a scam. I bought one half expecting to send it back. 3 months later, it hasn't left my finger. And it does way more than I expected. Sleep, heart rate, activity, recovery, my cycle, and stress, all from one little ring. The thing that helped me most? I realized my afternoon coffee was quietly wrecking my sleep. One small change, cutting it off after lunch, and within a week, I was sleeping like a rock. Now, here's why I'm telling you this. Right now, the ring's 63% off. Just $60 if you grab it through the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee if it's not for you. But I'm keeping mine. Item number 5 is a little thing that protects the priciest food in your whole kitchen. An instant red meat thermometer. You can get a good one for about $15 or $20, and it puts an end to the single most expensive cooking mistake there is, ruining a good piece of meat. Think about what a roast, a whole chicken, or a holiday turkey cost you these days. Then think about how often people overcook one into shoe leather, or worse, undercook it and make the whole table nervous, all because they were just guessing. A thermometer takes the guessing out entirely. You slide it in, you read the number, and you know the exact moment to pull it. No more slicing into it and hoping for the best. It pays for itself the very first time it rescues a roast, and as a bonus, it makes you look like you actually know what you're doing back there. Cheap insurance on expensive food. Number 6 is for anyone who has ever looked at the price of a single little vegetable seedling and winced. A simple seed starting grow light. A basic LED shop light runs you about $25, and it completely changes the math of a garden. Here's the deal. One tomato or pepper plant at the garden center will cost you $4 or $5 now. A whole packet of seeds that grows dozens of those exact same plants cost you around $2. The only thing standing between you and that savings is a bright enough spot to start the seeds, which most houses just don't have, especially in the tail end of winter. Hang a cheap grow light over a shelf, and suddenly you can start a whole garden's worth of plants for the price of 1 or 2 from the store. It pays for itself in a single spring, and then it keeps right on saving you money every year after that. That is the homestead way. Item number 7 is something I genuinely use almost every day, and most people only think to buy after the power's already gone out. A good headlamp. For around $20, you get a small light that straps onto your forehead and points wherever you happen to look, which frees up both of your hands. And once you own one, you'll find 100 uses for it. Hauling firewood after dark, checking on the animals at night, fishing something out from under the sink, digging through a dim closet, getting clear through a power outage without juggling a flashlight in your teeth. A flashlight always ties up a hand you almost certainly need. A headlamp never does. Get the kind that takes rechargeable batteries so you're not forever buying new ones. It's one of those quiet little tools you'll wonder how you ever managed without, and your friends will be a touch jealous the first time they watch you use it. Number 8 is one of the most useful things you can keep in a kitchen drawer, and it barely costs a thing. A digital kitchen scale. About $15 gets you a good one. Most people figure a scale is only for serious bakers, but here's everything it quietly does for you. Baking actually works when you weigh your flour instead of scooping it. So no more dense, sad, brick-like bread. It lets you split a big batch of ground beef or a bulk pack of chicken into exact, even portions before they go in the freezer. It helps you weigh your garden harvest, follow a recipe written anywhere in the world, and portion out food if you happen to be watching what you eat. It's small, it tucks away in any drawer, and it quietly makes you better at a dozen different jobs. For $15, almost nothing else in the kitchen earns its keep quite like it. Item number 9 hides in plain sight and does the work of several tools at once, a good pair of kitchen shears. For around $15, a sturdy pair of kitchen scissors becomes one of the most reached for things on your counter. They'll spatchcock a whole chicken in about a minute, which sounds fancy but just means snipping out the backbone so the bird cooks faster and far more evenly. They snip fresh herbs straight into the pot, trim the fat off your meat, cut a pizza into slices, and open every stubborn plastic package that ever got the better of you. The one trick is to buy a pair that pulls apart at the hinge so you can actually wash them properly and not grow a little science experiment inside. People spend a fortune on gadgets that each do exactly one job, when a simple pair of shears does 10. Don't ever overlook the humble kitchen scissors. Number 10 is the cheapest item on this entire list, and it might just save you the most money of all: a roll of weather stripping and a draft stopper for the bottom of the door. The whole setup costs you maybe $10 or $15. Here's what's quietly happening in most homes, especially the older ones. You are paying good money to heat your air, and then that warm air is sneaking right back out through the gaps around your doors and windows, while cold drafts come pouring in to take its place. You're basically paying to heat the great outdoors. A few minutes pressing self-stick foam around a drafty door frame and a simple stopper laid along the bottom plugs those leaks for good. The room feels warmer almost immediately, the furnace kicks on less often, and your bill drops. It's the rare fix where you spend a few dollars one time and save money every single month afterward. Boring? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Item number 11 is an upgrade almost nobody thinks to make until they try it just once: a couple of pairs of real wool socks. Now, these do cost a bit more than the cotton ones, maybe $15 or $20 a pair, which is exactly why people balk at them. But here's what cotton will never tell you. The moment cotton socks get even a little damp from sweat or snow, they turn cold and clammy and start giving you blisters. Wool keeps your feet warm even when it's damp. It wicks the sweat right away, and somehow it manages to keep you cool in the summer and warm in the winter, both. A good pair lasts for years if you treat them halfway decently, and once you've worn proper wool through one cold morning of chores, you will never go back to the cheap cotton again. Your feet do an awful lot of work hauling you around all day. It's more than worth a few dollars to treat them right. And we'll finish with the obvious one that somehow nearly everybody still gets wrong: a genuinely good pillow. Here's the thing. You spend roughly a third of your entire life with your head resting on a pillow, and most folks are doing it on a flat, lumpy, worn-out thing they grabbed for $5 sometime back in a decade they'd rather forget. For around $30 or $40, a proper pillow that actually supports your neck can be the whole difference between waking up stiff and sore every morning and waking up genuinely rested. And better sleep quietly makes everything else in your day better. Your mood, your patience, your aching back, all of it. It isn't an exciting purchase, and that's the exact reason people keep putting it off year after year. But of everything on this list, this just might be the one that improves your life the most for the very least. Replace that sad old pillow? Your neck has been begging you to for years, and that's the 12. Not a single one over $50, and most of them a good deal less, but everyone earns its spot by saving you money, saving you hassle, or simply making an ordinary day run a little bit smoother. That's the real secret nobody bothers to tell you. A better life almost never gets built out of big, expensive purchases. It gets built out of small, smart ones, the kind you actually use every day. Pick a couple that spoke to you and go ahead and treat yourself. You've more than earned it.